Hey, everybody, and welcome. Today we have Adrian here with us, who just earned a software engineering degree in 9 months after dropping out of traditional college. Adrian, thank you for being here with us, and thank you for being willing to share how you did it and your story with everyone watching.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having me. It feels good to be here after all the videos that I watched from you and all the help that I received from you and advice. It feels good to be here.
I'm just glad you're here, and congratulations on the degree. I mean, software engineering in 9 months is really impressive. I want to ask you some questions so people watching can kind of get an idea of how you did this and maybe do it themselves. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. First things first, you dropped out of college and you talked to me about watching my videos made you want to drop out of college. For those watching, I am not telling anyone to drop out of college, just clear and upfront about that. But Adrian, you're watching my videos convinced you to drop out. Just tell me about that and how you were feeling and what made you want to try this degree hacking process.
Yeah, well, maybe not drop out, but like a switching college. But yeah, I dropped out of traditional college. Yeah, well, I was, in class in my regular school, in my regular college. I was watching videos, everything I can find about, this online school. And yeah, it really made me just say like, I'm done here. Let's just move, do it here online. And I think it's safe to say that it was a good move.
It was a good move. Let me ask you this though. You watched my videos and I'm sure you heard me say you can get college degrees in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Were you skeptical?
Absolutely. Very skeptical, especially here that online college is not really a thing. So even more skeptical.
I'm glad you made the leap though. Let's talk about how you did this. For those watching, Adrian did start with traditional college, but had 0 credits transfer over. So he basically was starting from scratch. But before you jumped into your chosen university, we'll talk about which university you chose. You did some credits through Sophia.org. How many classes did you get or complete through Sophia to then transfer in? And what are your thoughts about that? Because some of my students, like there are pros and cons. Some of my students really like Sophia, some of my students don't. It just kind of depends on the situation. Can you just talk to us about what drove that decision and how it worked out for you?
Yeah, so once I had the everything ready to start the month before, I saw all the credits, all the transfer lists. So I was like, okay, Sophia looks good, study.com looks good to do it. But then I realized that study.com had like a limit restriction. So I was like, oh, okay. So I did Sophia. I really liked it because I think it's more efficient. I think it's straight to the point, Sophia.
Yeah, you still have to do the work, but you can do it quickly, right?
Yeah,
And how many classes did you do through Sophia?
I did 10 classes in Sophia. They were done the month before. So from February to March, I did all of them. Obviously, I'm lucky enough to be full time. But yeah, I did the 10 and I had no problem transferring them.
So you did 10 classes through Sophia in about a month, which is impressive. And then for those watching, a bachelor's degree is traditionally about 40 classes, give or take a class or two either way. That puts you at about 30 classes to complete in the remainder of your time, your 8 or 9 months. What school did you choose? Why did you choose it? And how was your experience?
Well, I did choose WGU because simply all the information that I read online, it was just like the most practical to join. I think this transferring system works out really great for me. And just also the simplicity of the how the mechanism work, how does the school work, where you just have to prove your competency instead of having to, read and do everything. If you know, that's what I like. If you know what you're talking about, if you know the class, prove it and you're done. That's like a big plus.
Yeah, Western Governors University allows you to test out of your classes. So if you go learn the material on your own and gain the knowledge, you can come back and test out. If you already have the knowledge from previous life experience, test out of your class. You can go through them really, really quickly. So you chose Western Governors University and churned through about 8 more months, got your entire degree. and now you're done with school. How old are you, Adrian?
I am 20. I started at 19. I'm currently 20.
So you still have friends who started traditional school right out of high school and they're not graduated yet. Is that right?
Yeah, well, my friends that we graduated together and we started college together, they're still not even halfway there and I'm already done.
How do they feel about seeing you get your degree this fast?
Well, they're surprised because, as I said before, that's not something very common here. We're both happy doing our ways, but it's kind of like, oh, so nice that you're finished already. Like, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Can I just ask you, because tech degrees really popular right now. Western Governors University, I love for tech degrees. My favorite school for accelerated tech degrees. For those watching who are interested in tech degrees, maybe software engineering, maybe other fields in tech, what are your thoughts on your experience accelerating a tech degree specifically? And do you have any thoughts for other people that might be interested in earning tech degrees?
No, it was quite good. It was much more difficult than I expected. Obviously, not like, you know, I cannot longer do it now because you have the help, you have the teachers. There was obviously some days where I got the pace of it. I was, probably coding something and I got the pace and I went to bed very late. But then, the good thing about having your own schedule and organizing yourself, well, at least in my case, I could have wake up earlier, later, or, but honestly, comparing it to my traditional college that I went, I liked it more because the projects are actually something you'd use in real life. And maybe in college you also get them, but probably at the end. At least what I did here was prepared me for to do actually something like I know how the exact guidance if I want to do something myself for a company, like some freelancing, it's perfect.
You actually took away real world knowledge, but you did it way faster than traditional. You dropped out of traditional or you transitioned and left traditional for this degree hacking process. Compare the learning process of being a traditional student to doing this on your own at your own pace. What are your thoughts between the two different models of getting your degree?
Yes, so especially for people that can really are not really very good at paying attention to the teacher like me. Either they're going too slow or too fast. In my case, this was perfect. The fitting was perfect because you can learn whatever at your own pace and you can just, how do I say, apply your knowledge in a different way. Kind of like, let me put you an example of my college. One class, I knew everything about the class. It was like UX design, UX and UI design. So I knew everything. I knew how to use the software. So I had to go for 6 months through 6 months, something that I already knew. And in WGU, I would have been done in an hour, right? So
Exactly.
that's what I like. They let you prove yourself, and it's not like, oh, if you fail, you're done. No, no, no. Like if you fail, they're gonna tell you exactly what you failed and how to improve it and where to improve it. Like where do you find the material? So it's very good material. There's also the internet, which I was also using in the traditional college. So the internet to learn is the best. But yeah, the difference is quite good.
I love it. I'm glad you brought that up. Testing out of your classes sounds really scary. It sounds hard,
Yeah.
but you can figure out what's going to be on the exam, go and learn it through the internet, like you said. And then if you fail an exam, you can still retake it and attempt to test out of the class again. It's not like you fail and you're just done. You just study more and you attempt it again, which is really cool. For anyone thinking like this sounds good, but it might be too good to be true, or I don't know if it's for me, do you have any advice for people thinking about accelerating a degree?
Yeah. So when you say a degree in 6 months, it sounds like, oh, well, it's super easy or like is it going to be lesser because it's online or because it's faster or whatever? And let me tell you, no, it's different levels of difficulty. Yes, here it's since you're just work, as I said, yes, I'm working. I did it in 9 months, but I was working every day, and the progress that I was doing, it's way different than in that traditional degree, right? Because your day-to-day progress there is probably listening to the teacher, doing the homeworks. Here I was, just learning what I had to learn and doing the projects or studying for the exam. So it was like a different way of progression, right?
Yeah,
But no, at the end of the day, it does work, and I think they even have like a certain section on the website where it's like students who have gotten jobs or gotten into college after this, they just put it there. So there's like a big list of college that former students have gone. So for masters and whatever. So it does have validation. It does work, and it's not a CCS. It may sound like, oh, degree in 3 months, 6 months. No, you're working, right?
Absolutely. It's not some free cheaty way to go get your degree. You're still doing the work. Just a little example, the bar exam to become a lawyer. The bar exam is considered significantly more challenging than getting a master's degree. Well, the average student getting a master's degree in the US takes 3 years to earn a master's degree. And then you look at study averages for the bar exam. Well, students generally study for the bar exam for 8 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 8, 10, 12 weeks, and they're going and taking and passing the bar exam. It's because students know what they're going to be tested on, and they can just dedicate their studies to learning those things. And that's kind of the principle that we're carrying into these accelerated degrees. It's really cool. One thing I want to bring up about Adrian. Adrian does not live in the United States, and English is not his first language. You're a native Spanish speaker, and you still went and got a US based degree with English being your second language. That makes it so much more challenging. Adrian, where are you at? Like, where do you live? Tell us, tell us about your background, because you're doing this in a more challenging way than anyone who's here in the US and grew up speaking English fluently.
Well, I live in Monterrey, Mexico, which is a 3-hour car ride away from Texas. I do have family in Texas. I do have a lot of friends in the US. That's basically how I learned to speak English. Besides, also my whole entire life, it was bilingual education, but nothing compares to practice, to experience your practice. And, this is online college is something, as I mentioned before, that it's not really seen here around here. Actually, I got a friend that's studying, I think, in Dallas, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting in debt. I don't like, I'm not liking this. I'm failing classes and whatever. I actually like your approach. I might seriously consider switching to online.
It's hard not to. When the big thing is people will hear me or anyone else talk about go get your degree faster, and most people think it's impossible, or it's a lesser degree, or
Mhm.
I'm not smart enough, or whatever the concern is. And then they hear other stories and realize, you're earning the same degrees. You're just doing it at your own pace. Being a student from Mexico attending Western Governors University, WGU says that they don't accept international students, but you still got in. How did you get in? Because I have seen them accept international students. You just kind of have to know how to do it. Can you tell us how you were able to do that?
Yeah, so I have to say before, I was almost giving up. I gave up on WGU because, they didn't accept international students until I had a call with you, Ryan, that you tell me, your team told me about it. And I was like, oh, wow, let me try. So I just sent an email to the enrollment team, and, someone got back to me. We had a call, and there's just two things that you might have a problem with. The transcript. If you have a transcript from somewhere else, they're just gonna ask you to have like an equivalency or like an evaluation. They recommend me somewhere. You just pay it, and they make the equivalent of your degree of your transcript in the United States. They can ask you for like the social security number or the individual taxpayer number. I just put in random numbers. There was no problem with it. I told them. So, I was scared because, oh, what if they ask me to put my SSN? I don't have a social security. Nope, no problem at all. Oh, the phone number format, they have it as American format, so 334 digits. Not a problem at all. They just called me once, and from the recordings, the history, they called me from there. So never had any issues. I did have an address in the US that I used. Still, they do international shipping, so no issues with that also. So just basically talking with an enrollment counselor.
That's amazing. Thank you. For
Yeah,
those
just
watching,
the details. Yeah.
yeah, for those watching who maybe want to go to WGU and they are overseas, there are ways to do it. Adrian, what are your plans for the future? Now, like you've got this degree really quickly. You're 20 years old and now you have all these doors open for jobs and potential get other more degrees, kind of whatever you want to do sooner than you expected. What are your plans?
Well, since as you said, I'm 20, I'm in a good position, right? There's not a lot of pressure on myself right now. I mean, obviously, gotta get to work, gotta do something, right? But it's not like, oh, I gotta. So no, right now I'm doing some projects, actually engineering projects for some companies, and I'm also kind of applying to jobs, sending a few applications, especially in companies that I like. If it lands, it lands. I gotta say, there's no work experience in my past, besides what I just been doing this year, which is one project, one app for a company. And I think it's looking good. Even, many people can be scared, like no validation for the degree because it's online. No, it's good. And actually in LinkedIn, if you put in the college, it says like in a bunch of companies like, oh, three former students work here. So I was like, oh, it's a relief, right? So no,
Absolutely.
it does work, right? And but yeah, to answer your question, I'm probably gonna get like an AI internship in a company, probably in a software company. I'm already in talks for it. And yeah, just applying. And if, one of the companies that I like lands, maybe, go for it, right?
You're 20 years old and you're applying for bachelor's degree level software engineering jobs and AI internships as a 20-year-old. Like super, super impressive. You've done a fantastic job. For those watching, I teach students how to do this all the time. I have a program called Degree Hacking Academy. If you're interested, I'm just going to leave a link down below. If not, I just hope you're inspired by Adrian's story and you want to go and do this yourself. Adrian, any closing thoughts for people thinking about getting degrees faster?
Organize yourself. That's the best thing that I did. Just have everything organized. And also, I have to say, I set up deadlines for a lot of the classes, and I have to say, I think I never got a deadline accurate. Like I never did a deadline. I don't think that's a huge issue because I just there's no rush, no nothing. It's just organizing yourself and knowing what you're gonna do. The school provides like the full list of the classes and what's gonna be in it, so you can, like as you've recommended, Ryan, pre-studying or just knowing what's gonna be next. If you organize yourself, there's no way to miss.
Adrian, this is super inspiring. I just want to thank you for being here today. For those watching, I hope this was inspiring to you as well. I'm happy to help you do this if you need help. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you in the next video.